There's a lot of talk and questions regarding this chap here, Mohammed Amaaz, and why he's not been sentenced yet. So hopefully this video will explain it for you. Now you'll recall that Mohammed Amaaz was convicted in Liverpool Crown Court after a 4-week trial on 2 counts of actual bodily harm and 1 of common assault. But you will also recall that he, along with his brother, were charged on several counts, but 2 of which the jury could not reach a verdict upon, despite deliberating for some 10 hours. And just as a teeny tiny favour, if I could please ask you to subscribe to the channel. It's free for those of you that aren't aware. It's a big button below that says subscribe if you're not subscribed. And even then, YouTube sometimes unsubscribes you when you've already subscribed. I'm headed to 1 million subscribers. That is a goal of mine, so I know that on some level I've helped 1 million people. I'd be really grateful if you do that. So please hit that button. Please also hit the like button, because I'll tell you things here that the mainstream media probably won't tell you. And hopefully I'll explain things in ways that they probably won't explain it to you. I won't pick and choose. I'll tell you what I think and my personal views over on my Off the Record channel linked below. And with almost 810,000 of you that have done that already on this channel, I thank you so much for your support. These were the charges that they assaulted PC Marsden. So this has been put back to a retrial. The CPS has now sought a retrial on those counts, which is not set to happen until the 7th of April next year. And so 2 things happened. Firstly, his brother Mohammed Amaaz was released on unconditional bail. And secondly, Mohammed Amaaz was remanded into custody and has not yet been sentenced. Although I understand that there is a bail application which has been adjourned till the 26th of August. So that will come up in just a few days' time if that sticks to plan. Now, the judge will then be in a position to decide whether or not to grant bail to Mohammed Amaaz. Now, the reason that that is solely in the hands of the judge is because once one is a convicted person, there is no longer a presumption in favour of bail, as there would be an unconvicted person. So at the moment, in respect of the charges for which he's been convicted, Mohammed Amaaz is now considered a convicted, unsentenced offender, meaning he has been convicted of those charges, but has not yet been sentenced, and that's for a very good reason. Because the charge upon which the jury could not reach a verdict is part of the same factual matrix and story, it happened all at the same time, it is only appropriate for the judge to consider any sentence in light of any finding on that retrial. So obviously regarding that particular count, I won't be making any comment. Obviously he's been convicted on those 3 charges, but has not yet been sentenced. And that is only appropriate because the 4th charge, which was count 2, the jury could not reach a verdict on. So therefore the judge will likely want to consider that finding, either guilty or not guilty, in light of the others when passing sentence. Now, he's been remanded into custody for 2 reasons. 1, there is no longer a presumption in favour of bail because he's been convicted of those charges. But secondly, it is also likely that he's going to receive a lengthy custodial sentence. Now, whilst this is some time away, April next year, it may well be that the judge decides to remand him in custody until that trial, if the judge sees that it's likely he would receive a custodial sentence at least that long. But that will be down to the judge to decide. As a segue for a moment, I'd like to tell you a story. This is a genuine story from about 25 years ago. I was reminded of this story just recently when a client asked me about the right to be forgotten and what the law is. So about 25 years ago, a friend of mine was running a fairly small second-hand car garage. The way that he would find his vehicles and the way that he would make his money was quite interesting. He would look up either adverts of people selling their vehicles, or he'd find them on the street with a for sale sign in the window. This one vehicle that he saw, and he got talking to me about, just had an email address in the window. So he had for sale and just an email address. No phone number, but he wanted to talk to them because he'd sent an email explaining what he was doing. And presumably they just ignored him. But he wanted to talk to them so that he could just have this conversation. Anyway, so I took this email address and I start doing some digging online. Now, it wasn't easy to find, but eventually I linked the email address to a forum somewhere, which led to some other account somewhere. It might have been an eBay thing or whatever it was. One way or another, I traced back and eventually found who it was, found the name, and ultimately found a phone number. So I gave this to my friend and he phoned them up and obviously started talking to them about this vehicle. Now, obviously, they were a little bit alarmed and upset at the fact that they were called about this vehicle, given they didn't put the phone number in the window. Now, make no mistake, the phone number was visibly available online and it was in the public domain, so it wasn't exactly secret or anything like that. But it did highlight the concern that you can find these details about people online. And obviously, this doesn't just apply to phone numbers, it applies to all sorts of things: family members, where you work, where you went to school, even where you live, and all sorts of other details that you probably wouldn't want people knowing, especially in today's modern age with online digital theft and even in-person theft and harassment and so on, when people know all of this information about you. And so that is where one of the partners to my channels comes in, called Incogni, because they help to wipe and erase you from the internet completely, in line with the right to be forgotten that my client asked me about. And in doing so, this will help to keep you safe. If you like, they can't harm you if they can't find you. And so not only do they contact companies whose business it is to sell your information on, but they will do custom removals so you can tell Incogni specifically where you want your information removed from, and they will get onto it. You will get access to a dashboard which will give you an ongoing update as to which companies and which websites have removed your information from their websites and from their servers. This acts not only as protection from identity theft, but also scam attempts and other online threats. And the great thing is, as a partner to my channel, and I am very selective with whom I partner on this channel, you get a great discount of 60% off the ongoing service on the annual plan using the code BlackBelt at the checkout. You'll get 60% off that service, and it's ongoing, so we'll continually look for new information that's out there, whether it's duplicitous or new companies pop up with your information. This will help to remove it all. So check out the service with the link in the description. Don't forget the code BlackBelt for your discount, and you'll be staggered as to how much information of you there is out there, and you'll be pleased to see it being removed. As for Mohammed Amaaz, there is still a presumption in favor of bail, and there are custody time limits that apply. And this is 56 days for summary-only offences, or either way offences that are heard in the magistrate's court, or 182 days for indictable-only offences, or offences that are sent to the Crown Court. Now, not that it was likely that Mohammed Amaaz was going to be remanded into custody anyway, because he was already on bail, but even if he were, that would mean some 250 days between the end of July and the trial next year, so that was unlikely in any event. But it might be the case that the judge considers that Mohammed Amaaz might be sentenced to at least that long, so maybe remand him into custody until that retrial. And these custody time limits have to be calculated and applied accurately. And as to any sentence that Mohammed Amaaz ultimately receives, it is likely to be after the retrial on count 2 that the jury couldn't reach a verdict on, and will take into account any time that is already spent in custody. After all, he will be treated as a sentenced offender, even though he's not yet been sentenced. He will still be treated as such until such point he has been sentenced, and then that sentence will be calculated in accordance with time served. And so, in a nutshell, it is standard practice, good practice, and exactly what we would expect. As to the bail hearing and whether Amaaz is released on bail, that will be down to the judge. I personally think it is unlikely, but that will be down to the judge, as I say. But at least these trials give us the opportunity to share with you our views on the law and procedure and how it works, save, of course, where it is still a live trial or still a live charge, as in one charge in this case. Obviously, views on that are reserved in this video until the retrial in April next year. And, of course, I will be able to share those with you then. Until then, if you want my personal views on different things, please do join me on Black Belt Barrister Off the Record, where 85,000 plus of you have subscribed in just over a month. I am truly grateful to share my thoughts with you on that channel, because many of you wanted the political views and that sort of thing moved off this channel, which is perfectly fine. I perfectly accept. I listened to the feedback and created a new channel. So hopefully you enjoy both. Please do head over there and subscribe. And also, if you are not familiar with the new requirements for companies to register their directors with verified ID with the government, you need to watch my Black Belt Secrets video. I'll link that below. It is scary stuff, and this is where digital ID is certainly going to roll out. This is where they are starting, so I'll talk about that on my Black Belt Secrets video. I'll link that below. Check that out. Please do subscribe here too. Thank you so much for doing that, and as always, thank you for watching.